Well, folks, this just in regarding the one law for me, one law for thee file, a heap and helping of hypocrisy that really took off during the scamdemic. Mike Duheme, Justin Trudeau's hand-picked RCMP commissioner, says he wants the government to look at drafting a new law that would make it easier for police to pursue charges against people who offend elected officials. That's right, Commissioner Duheme wants a brand new whiz-bang hurt feelings law. Oh, and not for all of us who make up the great unwashed masses, mind you. No. The hurt feelings law is solely for those in the political class. You know, these beautiful people and their precious feelings, well, they're special, you see, and must be protected at all costs. On the flip side, it is your commentary that must be sanitized for their protection, or else. My God in heaven, with all the crime that is surging across our great dominion these days, and I mean real bona fide violent crime from carjackings to homicide, Commissioner Duheme is more concerned about members of the political elite suffering from hurt feelings? Really? No wonder this Mountie is a Trudeau appointee. And isn't this a chicken and egg quandary? Duheme says he wants the government to look at drafting new laws. Could it be that it is the Trudeau Liberals who cooked up this idea and they are employing Duheme as their bought and paid for stooge, to make it seem as though there is a separation of state and law enforcement? Whatever the case, here's the skinny. The RCMP alleged that they're seeing an increase in the utterance of nasty remarks and social media postings directed at our privileged politicians. Good golly, I wonder why so many Canadians are in such a sour mood these days. Could it be gas at $1.70 a liter, or that a basket full of groceries can cost well north of $100? Or how about those ominous interest rates, meaning foreclosure is now a clear and present danger for many homeowners? Or what about those people literally dying as they wait for life-saving surgery? Or how about Trudeau turning down countries such as Germany, Japan, Greece, and several others that are begging to purchase our liquefied natural gas, only to have Trudeau refuse them, saying, well, there's no business case. Yeah, why would we want the Canadian Treasury being enriched to the tune of, some $2 trillion? The budget will balance itself after all. Oh, and by the way, if you really don't like the way the Trudeau Liberals are destroying our nation and you're on the verge of losing your livelihood and maybe your house, hey, no problem. The Liberals have made it easy peasy to check out anytime thanks to medical assistance in dying, aka maid. But this maid doesn't clean up your room. Rather, she gives you the long needle. And the really great thing about maid, as opposed to say, getting hip replacement surgery, is that there's no wait time. So if you're not happy with the Liberals and you're feeling, down in the dumps, feel free to exit stage left, as in permanently. In the meantime, let's get down to the real issues of substance for this government. It's not trite stuff like the economy or the healthcare crisis or illegal aliens or surging crime. No, the really, really big issue is politicians having their feelings hurt by nasty words. So thank goodness we have the Mounties to serve and protect, and for that matter, to reinvent themselves as the thought police. Don't you find it perversely ironic that Trudeau hates guns? Well, guns owned by law-abiding hunters and sport shooters, that is, not so much illegal handguns owned by gangbangers who routinely get out of jail on bail thanks to our catch-and-release justice system. And he certainly does not hate guns when it comes to the federal law enforcement division. Oh no, their guns come in quite handy when it comes to intimidating the populace, especially when people take to the streets to protest the erosion of their freedoms. But back to Commissioner Duheme. He frets that the problem with people making cruel comments to politicians is that such behavior does not meet the criminal code threshold for laying a charge of uttering threats. Well, of course the threshold isn't met. Harsh language is not the same as uttering a death threat. Oh, damn that freedom of speech thingy, eh? But here's where it gets a wee bit scary. RCMP Commissioner Duheme rhetorically asks, quote, "Are there other tools that we can use? Is there anything else that we could add to the criminal code that can address the situation?" End quote. Translation: Trudeau and his minions just can't wait for the thought crime legislation, aka Bill C-63, to be enacted into law. That's all about hurt feelings too, so much so that an anonymous person can file a complaint against you if they believe you stated something hateful, even several years ago. The complaint can receive an award of $20,000, with the government receiving a $50,000 service fee. Oh, take that, Ticketmaster. Oh, and by the way, if the government thinks you might say something hurtful in the future, they can place you in indefinite house arrest. If this bill is enacted into law and it survives the inevitable Supreme Court challenge, free speech will be vaporized in Canada. We will have a nation that resembles a witch's brew of 1984, Minority Report, and the Star Chamber. But for censorious thugs like Duheme, the tyranny of Bill C-63 is clearly not enough. There must be other new rules regarding free speech, new laws that are required to remedy a problem that does not exist. Oh, and when Duheme uses the term other tools, what is he referring to exactly? Would one of those other tools be that big bazooka in the government toolbox known as the Emergencies Act? You know, I bet Duheme would love to have the Emergencies Act permanently in place. That would make things go so much easier for the Mounties, wouldn't it? You know, without having to deal with all that due process stuff gumming up the works. So citizen beware, if you dare raise that F Trudeau flag in the not too distant future, you might just get fined or criminally charged or put in solitary or have your bank account frozen. Oh, I bet that non-dynamic duo of Trudeau and Duheme would love that kind of power. Here's the thing, I'm pretty much a free speech absolutist, but there is, of course, a line in the proverbial sand. And that line is this: if you advocate for the harm or death of an individual or a recognizable group of individuals, that is criminal. And on this front, hey, Mr. Duheme, visit any major Canadian city on any given weekend and check out the calls for the genocide of the Jewish people by the pro-Hamas hooligans. Indeed, from Intifada and from the river to the sea, to go back to Europe, members of this New Age Hitler Youth movement are blatantly breaking hate speech laws. And yet nothing is being done. Heck, Duheme, in March, they were even displaying signs outside a Liberal Party of Canada fundraiser condemning your boss as Genocide Justin. I guess these thugs are equal opportunity haters. Yeah, they hate the Jew who just owns the local deli or runs a bookstore. And they even hate the Prime Minister himself, who clearly sides with Team Hamas, but maybe not enough, I suppose. And your response to all this hatred, Commissioner Duheme?
Please disperse! Nothing to see here!
Folks, can the hypocrisy of our ruling class be any more blatant? Can the two-tier policing be any more self-evident? But genocide, schmemicide, Duheme is seemingly obsessed about politicians having their feelings hurt by harsh language. And don't get me wrong, if a constituent utters an actual death threat, that does cross the line. And there are already provisions in the criminal code to address such discourse in the here and now. But if a snowflake politician is triggered by salty language, sorry, that politician is in the wrong business. In politics, you need Godzilla thick skin. 'Twas ever thus. Yet we seem to have a new crop of woke weakling wimps in office, and Commissioner Duheme wants to charge to their rescue.